Well, I'll start with the boundaries of the mission. Uh, this Knoxville is a mission that covers the very western or the very eastern end of Tennessee, the very eastern end of North Carolina.
No, western end of North Carolina.
The western end of North Carolina, just a little bit of Georgia, just like one branch in Georgia, and there's some of Virginia. The very western tip of Virginia is in this mission as well.
And Kentucky.
Oh yeah, there's some.
And there's part
some
of Kentucky.
A little piece of Kentucky in the mission, and there are stakes. We were in the Asheville stake, Asheville, North Carolina stake, and it had like 10 branches, and some of them were very large and well developed. We were in a small branch.
Some of them were wards.
And the church is quite mature in Knoxville as well, but there were little branches out in Kentucky and Virginia, the very tip of Virginia, that needed a lot of help. So the couples were not near the mission home, and they were out in the perimeter of the mission for the most part.
In the areas that struggled the most.
Yeah. Except for those couples that were in the mission home, which, yeah. But our exposure to the different kinds of missions and branches was mostly from getting together in zone meetings and mission meetings. There were missionaries that were assigned to learn Spanish and teach Spanish. Some of the sisters were called hermanas. Mm-hmm. What were the elders called?
Elder.
They were all called elder, I don't know. But some on their badge was hermana, and you knew that they were able to teach Spanish. And there were Spanish people in our ward, but in our branch, but we didn't have Spanish missionaries in the branch.
But we were able to do all right with them because they could speak some English enough. Places that are interesting and popular within the mission are places mostly within the Great Smoky Mountains, which is where we were. The Great Smoky Mountain National Park is huge. The Appalachian Trail, which is a famous 2,000-mile-long hiking trail, begins just in the northern edge of Georgia and continues on up through several mountain ranges up into Maine. And a good deal of that is within the Tennessee Knoxville Mission. It runs right across the back of the property of our branch president, and there are many places that the road crosses it. It's the Copperhead capital of the nation.
Copperhead?
That's the Copperhead snakes. Yes,
snakes.
I don't like them. But they're quite common, and it's very lush and green. It's the area we were in was considered rainforest because it gets more than 84 inches of rain a year, sometimes 10, 12 inches a month. And the trees grow beautiful and tall. It's lush. It's temperate. It doesn't get too cold in the winter, but it does get some of those nasty storms that come up from the south. Yeah. But it's there's Dolly World is popular out there.
There's a lot of Cherokee Indians,
yes.
And it's one of the origins for the Trail of Tears, where the Cherokee Indians were moved from that area to Oklahoma, and so there's a lot of Cherokee reservations nearby, and a lot of the people that we taught had Cherokee blood. So the Native American issue was big. A lot of Baptist churches. As we drove in, and I counted all the Baptist churches as we were driving into Murphy, I just kind of wonder, what kind of experience we're gonna have with the Baptists. And it turns out that they're friendly, and they want to please. We didn't have much Bible bashing, but we did have a little bit of back turning to us people that thought we were off base, but
They're mostly polite, but keep your distance because you're weird. It's a beautiful mission. It's all beautiful. The people, the whole area was settled originally by Scotch-Irish immigrants fleeing the domination of nobility in the British Isles, and they would go way back in the hills, and they stayed there. And many generations have come down from there. They're a proud people, and most of them have a long history of hard life. There are a lot of poor, a lot of welfare cases. Most of the people who have very much are people who have moved in from other places. Not many have been born and bred there or been there for generations. But there is not much industry, so there is a lot of poor. And most of those people don't want to leave and go to the cities either. They want to stay on the land that Meemaw and Pawpaw had, and the ones before them and the ones before them. And it's a long history of family pride.
In Murphy itself, there's a Western Carolina University branch, and there's other universities in neighboring towns.
And in the mission, yes, there are universities. But in the mountain areas, people are mostly laborers, and a lot of them still looking for work. There used to be several large industries that have all left the mountains and gone overseas. There are only a couple of modest-sized industries still in the mountain communities. When you get to Asheville and Knoxville, Chattanooga, the bigger towns like that, then there's a lot more industry and employment opportunity.
Well, Murphy has 2 or 3 viable industries still in town. Snap-on tools.
Well, that's why I'm saying they're modest size.
Moog, which makes parts for all kinds of things, but for the most part, there's a lot of unemployment, a lot of people that have applied for disability. And one of the things that we noticed was that since there were so many aging people and so many people that were unemployed, that we could contact people in the afternoon and in the morning, and they would often be home.